Welcome to subramani.com. Have you ever wondered what are the financial things that you should be teaching your children? I mean, I could do many videos on this simply because I don't think there is one single video which can cover everything that you need to teach. But let's start with the very basics. First, teach them accounting. Teach them to write down the expenses that they incur. Right when they're in school, they may not be spending much money on their own, but whatever they spend, ask them to write down. Whatever amount you're giving them, it doesn't matter how much amount you're giving them, ask them to write down the expenses, and you should know how much you're giving and what's happening. So, suppose you have given your kid 1000 rupees, or maybe two notes of 500 or one note, whatever, and they are spending, let them write down, let them know where the money has gone, let them just say food, they need not write whether they ate ice cream or kulfi or whatever. Second, don't be judgmental, don't say, oh, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have gone by taxi, and normally I'm expecting that these expenses would be day to day kind of expenses, so travel or food or something, not dresses and things which they need, not books which they need for their studies or otherwise. So this will be small time expenses. Don't be saying, "Oh, I never spend so much. We spend less." Don't get judgmental, but try, get them to do accounting. If you get judgmental, the accounting will stop. Second, teach them value. Tell them everything that we buy has a price, right? But the things which we use well, which means we have been able to derive value from the price that we paid. There are times when you pay the price but you don't use it, which means you have not derived any value from it. You may have to throw it away. That feels bad. But that is exactly how your portfolio also gets built. You pay a price for everything. In some, when you get good return, you know how to, you've derived value out of it. Otherwise, you paid money and it's just gone, right? Most of our kids born to well-off parents have a silver spoon, and many of them may not even have to work to live their day-to-day life if they live a simple life. Yes, if they want to spend and blow a lot of money on luxury products, etc., they may have to earn, but a simple lifestyle. But the challenge is to say, what do they need to do to build up the challenge, right? They can't just say, oh, I'll put my feet up, do nothing. That shouldn't happen. So make sure that they are ambitious, but ambitious need not be money ambitious. It could be any, I want to become an IAS officer, I want to become the prime minister of the country, right? Any of those things could be ambition, but let them think big, dream big, and let not let not the money make them complacent. Let them not say, oh, it's okay, I will do a small job, it's okay, I've got enough money. That shouldn't happen, right? Make sure that they're greedy. Teach them to save money. Whatever money you're giving them, ask them to do an SIP or something and say, out of the 10,000 rupees that I'm giving you in a month, you wanted to say 500, or say out of the 10,000 rupees that I'm giving you every month, I want to see you save 1,000 rupees. I want to put a habit of saving 5% or 10% or whatever you're giving them. I'm not even saying how much you should give them, but out of whatever you're giving them, ask them to try to save, right? Explain to them that there is something called income tax which you may feel is illegitimate, but it takes away 35-40% of your income, so be ready for that. So teach them those things also. Preparing your 15-year-old for death is not a bad idea. Telling them what you have, why you have, and what is your investment philosophy, right? And all that is very useful because they should know why you bought a share and you're holding for 15 years, but that is something which you bought and sold in 15 days or maybe 1.5 days. So some involvement of the spouse or of the children in the investments, the way you make, or you say, I don't want to, here is my very complex investment, but the minute I die, I want you to sell all the shares and put money in an index fund. Perfectly all right, right? Also give them the names and addresses of people whom they should be in touch in case something goes wrong. For example, you have been doing all your own investments, but they may need help. So put the name and number of a good IFA to whom they can go. Could be your friend, right? So you didn't need doesn't mean they will not need. So they are better off being guided and being guided by a person whom you knew, you trusted, rather than just letting them in the bad world, right? Teach meditation. It's very useful. The earlier that you learn, the better it is. And there are courses available for school children to do meditation. I wish I had started earlier, and I wish I had done much better. I'm still horrible. I suck. But still, doesn't mean you can't teach that to your children. At least put them in a meditation class, put them in a yoga class, put them in a Vedic recital class where they can learn slokas. That's a very good first step to learning meditation. And don't criticize your children's decision. Your children are children of rich people. They will behave differently from how you behaved or how your parents behaved. So it's possible that your daughter in 10th standard goes and buys a 4,000 rupee shoe, or a 6,000 rupee dress, or an 8,000 rupee dress, right? Don't be judgmental. Don't say you can feed half the population of Bangladesh with the wardrobe that she has. What they've done, let them do. But teach them value. Teach them where these dresses costing 8,000 are available for 3,000, right? So in Mumbai, it could be Crawford Market. Whatever is the equivalent in other cities, I do not know. Read. Make them, when they are in college, make them keep their eyes and ears open, because a lot of learning will happen through YouTube, through the professors, to meeting professors, to handling events, right? So push them to take part in all kinds of events, whatever possible. It always adds to their life. Teach them a lot about compounding stories. Our schools do not teach enough about compounding. I have done a lot of work on compounding, and I think it's one thing which you should know, which your kid should know. So the minute your kid passes 8th standard, tell them a lot of stories on compounding and how compounding will have an impact on their lives. Because you may not have started early, but if your children start early, they will have a head start. So teach them some of these basic things. Teach them power of patience. Teach them how in equity you may have to wait for 5-10 years, how a good company can go through bad phases, how a good fund can go through bad phases. Should you stick around, should you not stick around? All those things are important. So if you want the power of compounding, you have to have the power of patience. So compounding happens over long periods of time, and over long periods of time, by not doing anything, by just sitting tight, you get the power of compounding. So the power of compounding and patience go hand in hand. So that please explain the link also. Whether you're doing too much of charity, whether you're doing small time charity, involve them and say on what basis you do charity. There are some people who will go and visit a charity and say it doesn't look very good, doesn't look that it will last very long, so I will not make any capital contribution. If they want to dig a well, if they want to buy a motor, I'm not too keen to do that. But I don't mind feeding the children for one day. I don't mind giving them educational tools which the kids can use today. But this charity, I will not give any capex, because I do not know how long it will last. That's fine, which means you have made your judgment. After you made your judgment, make sure that your children know about it. What is the basis, why you're giving, why you're not giving. All this is important. Thank you.